At least 28 people were killed and several others injured in what is turning out to be one of the deadliest attacks in the Kashmir Valley in recent years. The attacks took place in Baisaran Valley, a popular tourist destination where hundreds of visitors travel on horsebacks through the meadows daily. It coincided with the visit of US Vice President J.D. Vance, and the attackers are still at large. Sketches based on eyewitness accounts have been released, and a reward of rupees 20 lakh has been announced for information leading to their capture. But it has raised several pressing questions. Was this an intelligence failure? How did such an incident occur after a prolonged lull in terror activity? A lull which the Home Minister Amit Shah has described as crippling of the terror ecosystem in the Union territory. Was it sheer complacency on the part of security forces, and what we must do moving forward? To delve into these questions, we are joined by two prominent voices: former Director General of Jammu and Kashmir, SP Vaid, and Executive Director of the Institute of Conflict Management, Ajai Sahni. Thank you, both of you, for joining us, and we welcome you in this discussion. So, in the beginning, from both of you, if you could say, what really led to this ghastly terror attack? I mean, we have been reporting on this since day one, and speaking to a lot of sources from the intelligence, we got to know that there were prior inputs of intelligence inputs of such an attack happening. Second, there was such a prominent visit which was happening. JD Vance was here, and despite all of this, there was no security in that tourist spot. And I'm told that traditionally there is not much security in that tourist spot of Pahalgam. But what really led to this? Would you call it an intelligence failure or sheer complacency? I would start with Mr. Vaid. Sir, if you could give your comments on that.
See, such a deadly attack happening cannot be without the intelligence failure. We generally know which area, what group is operating. That is the local police job. How many people are there? Which area are they living? Who are the people who are helping them? This local police is supposed to know because it has ground connect. It has eyes and ears on the ground. But coming to this particular attack, there are a few issues. Number one, how was this resort, which is an isolated place, was where hundreds of tourists were going and have no road connectivity, people going on pony. And how was it not covered with armed policemen? I really wonder. I was talking to a few police officers who have dealt with this area, why there was no armed presence of the JNK police. So the answer I got from some of them that there is nearby army camp, so general area security of the army because of army's presence is there. So policemen thought that army's presence will deter terrorists. Number one. Number two, they said morning and evening, I think twice in a day, one LRP of the CRPF used to go as a general area security, but there was no. It's a fact that there was no armed presence of policemen, and that's why terrorists took full
advantage of that.
Advantage of that full. I think more than half an hour to attack the victims, to do whatever they wanted to do. But here, I would like to mention two or three more points. Number one, this is not a coincidence that Army Chief of Pakistan, General Asim Munir, makes explosive speech, which had gone viral. We all saw on the social media. And after 2-3 days of that, this thing happening. Number two, it is also not a coincidence that this very establishment of Pakistan, which includes the Pakistan Army and the ISI, arranged the visit of the Hamas leader a few months back in POK, who interacted with the LET and Jash terrorists. So the footprints of, you can call it's our Pulwama 2 moment, but footprints of Hamas terror attack on the Israel on 7th October, you can see here also. It may not be of that scale that 1,200 people are killed, but then it has footprints of that. They have cameras installed on their weapons, on their forehead. They have filmed everything and then released videos. So all that which the way Hamas did, it has footprints of Hamas style attack. And also, as you mentioned, the high profile visit, they look at the timing when Prime Minister was in Saudi Arabia and the Vice President of USA was here. So that's international publicity comes, and no one needs it more than Asim Munir. The situation in his country is so pe- uh, is so precarious.
Right. I'll bring in Mr. Ajay Sahni, in fact, in this. So, first part of the question, what I asked Mr. Vaid as well, that is it an intelligence failure? How could it have been possibly prevented? And second part, of course, the role of Pakistan in this entire episode. A lot of countries have reacted to this attack, including Pakistan. And but what could have been the possible motive? Is it that they think that we are taking a revenge for Baluchistan? Is it what is the possible motive? If you could bring in your expertise.
Yeah. So first of all, as far as the incident is concerned, every terrorist success in hindsight is an intelligence failure. But if intelligence could prevent every terrorist incident, then we would have no terrorism. You must understand that the adversary is a thinking adversary. He is looking for weaknesses. He is looking for opportunities. The weakness over here was that there was a understanding or a certain complacence around the fact that tourists have not been significantly targeted in Jammu Kashmir. They have been targeted in the past also.
Yes.
We document since 2000 at least 44 fatalities of targeted killings of tourists. And this, of course, includes pilgrims, Hindu pilgrims. But Hindu pilgrims are not part of this compact. They can be killed by the terrorists. There's no stigma attached to that. So we also understand, I mean, Mr. Vaid is, of course, a practitioner, so he know this much better. There is a limited availability of force. Deployments are done on assessments of the ground, on assessments of what a risk could be. Deployments are not done on the possibility that an attack may occur in every concentration. You will secure the tourist routes now.
Right.
You will probably circumscribe the tourist routes. You will say that people can go in around, say, Pahalgam to 4 or 5 spots, and you will police those spots.
Yeah.
They will find another target. I'll just remind you that last year we had this furor over these flurry of 4 incidents that occurred in Jammu.
Yes.
And everybody said escalation of terrorism. They said
and the base is shifted to Jammu now.
The base is shifted and all sorts of stuff was said. But please remember that at the end of the year, we had a total of just 127 fatalities last year by our account, South Asian Terrorism Portal data, which is the lowest since 2013. So we have to look at the trajectory. The biggest problem with us is, I would say, 2 problems. One is the objectives we put in front of ourselves. Zero terrorism. Zero terrorism is not going to happen for a long time. They are going to find weaknesses. If they will not find weaknesses now in tourist spots, they will go after some other area. Every village, every concentration of humanity in Jammu Kashmir cannot be saturated with security forces.
Right.
So there will be vulnerabilities, and from time to time, advantage will be taken of these vulnerabilities. The other thing is that we have a peculiar mindset. We are constantly trying to play the victim card. And we fail to realize that in this conflict, we are the victors. The victory is not complete, but we have come from a situation where thousands of people were being killed in Jammu and Kashmir every year to a situation where 127 people were killed last year.
Right.
More than 20 years ago, I had written that as far as Kashmir is concerned, India is concerned, Kashmir is a holding operation. We just have to hold on to Kashmir. And Pakistan will founder against this project.
Right.
Now, I'll come, if you want, we will talk about this later as to what has happened to Pakistan as a result of Kashmir.
Right.
But the second part of your question. First of all, I disagree with Mr. Vaid substantially as far as Munir is concerned. everyone is making a big furor about Munir's speech. Munir did not say a single thing that has not been said by hundreds of Pakistani leaders before this. Kashmir is our juggler. Musharraf said this, and Musharraf has a lot of supporters and sympathizers in India.
But do you think this was also a very desperate attempt? Because
why is it desperate? Why is it desperate? What is desperate? This is a cowardly act. This is a desperate act. Every terrorist act is cowardly and desperate. Why is it desperate? What is so desperate about it? They wanted to kill people to attract attention. That is what terrorists do. Publicity is the oxygen of terrorism. This is excellent publicity. They've got global publicity.
Desperate for attention is what I meant.
They're always desperate. Of course, they're desperate for attention.
Yeah.
Every terrorist act is a call for attention. So that is not in what we are talking about is what are the motives.
Yeah.
Excuse me. This is a protracted war. It is an ongoing conflict for 35 years plus.
So this is
every time something new, a new operation occurs, we start saying, what is the motive? And the motive is the same that was there for 35 years. The motive has not changed. Pakistan has not shifted. We have not changed. We have not shifted. Except that we are winning, they are losing. Please look at the condition of Pakistan today. They said they would balkanize India. They're standing at the threshold of balkanization themselves. They thought they would ruin our economy. They are standing at the threshold of economic ruination themselves. So understand, this is a protracted war or a protracted conflict. We should be looking at the trends. We should also look at the enormity of the tragedy that has been inflicted.
Yes.
That is not in dispute. And we must respond to that tragedy.
Right. I'll come to that response and how...
We must place that tragedy within a background of this protracted war, which I insist we are winning.
Right. We'll come to that in a bit, sir. Mr. Vaid, I want to bring you in again. We were speaking to a lot of investigators on the ground who have been probing this, conducting search operations, but there's still no clarity on whether there were 5, whether there were 6 terrorists. The action has completely shifted to the mountains. Why is it that we are finding it so hard to get any sort of intelligence from the locals or any sort of information that would lead to some results? I mean, what are the tactics that we need to bring some results in this entire episode now, because everybody is looking for answers?
It's just 48 hours, not even 48 hours. I think investigation. Hello. Am I clear?
Yes, Mr. Vaid, please go on.
So it's, I think the details will emerge, investigation during the too short a period. But yes, the new group which have entered Jammu and Kashmir, some of them are Pakistan Army regulars, SSG commandos, as per reports. They have specially trained how not to leak or ensure any information goes about them. They have been, in fact, certain incriminating documents were recovered during raids where detailed 20 or 25 instructions have been given to them, what to do and what not to do. They are using some Chinese app, internet-based, which is encrypted, which is difficult to even get any information about. So it is definitely a challenging job, but we will definitely get. Don't worry, investigations. The information will subsequently come, and we would know. There are initial inputs that this group, probably consisting of 5 to 6 people, came from Kishtwar ridges towards this side. This is initial inputs which are coming. Let's see. I think details they had. Actually, it was a well-planned attack. It was a racket attack where they have found that there is not sufficient armed presence here. They can execute the attack at liberty and then manage to escape, which actually they did. And most of the lives have been lost because there was no road there. So it took a lot of time for the injured to shift.
In
So
fact, the police also took about an hour after
yes,
the PCR
yes.
call was made to reach this.
Obviously, because there's no road, so they have to climb the mountain and climb. And 2 days before that, a lot of rain had taken place, so it was lot slippery.
Yeah.
So it's not a very uh, friendly terrain, difficult terrain. So obviously, the response time was much more. So that actually aggravated me. So let's see. The information will come. But as far as uh, Mr. Sani's point, I agree. 99 you may avert, but 100th time you fail. You can't cover every nook and corner of habitation. Tourists keep going to many remote areas. So you don't have so much of forces that everywhere, every place is covered. But still, I think uh, it's a fact that such a major attack has happened and we could not get a wind of it. How these terrorists were planning. So I think Amarnath Yatra is also scheduled to start, and Anantnag and Pahalgam is the hub of the activity. The base camp is in Pahalgam. So we have to be very extra careful. Generally, area domination takes starts in advance. The army and the CAPF are deployed a month or 2 months in advance. So 3rd of July it's starting. So I think
The
uh,
preparations have already, in fact, begun, and they're putting in place a complete SOP. I'll bring in Mr. Ajay Sahni here. So, when we were talking about Pakistan, the infiltration, of course, continues, despite we making claims that the terror ecosystem has crippled in Jammu and Kashmir, and that's, of course, because in the past couple of months, no activity happened. In fact, most of the people started saying that terrorism is over. But like you said, it doesn't happen like that. But where are we lacking? What are the critical measures that are needed to at least ensure that? Because when now we speak to investigators, they say that fresh rounds of infiltration happened just 3 months ago, 6 months ago. I mean, now they have all the information, but how is it that how can it be tackled?
A couple of things. First of all, you must understand that the language of strategy is restrained. The language of politics, especially electoral politics, is by definition exaggerated and boastful. So, what you are quoting is the language of politics. To believe that you can suddenly seal off this vast border with very across very difficult terrain, rivers and nalas that flow across the border and which cannot be fenced, sections that cannot be fenced. To say that we must have zero infiltration, to say that we must have zero terrorism, this is all framed in the language of politics, which is meant to appeal to a certain electoral audience.
Right.
It has nothing to do with a strategic assessment.
Yeah.
There has been massive decline in infiltration. Why can't we get these people once they infiltrate, the few who get across the border? You please see the number of people who are actually neutralized or sent or pushed back from the border. So many attempts fail. But the problem with any security operation is that the successes are not going to be noticed. A single failure is intelligence failure, security failure, deployment failure, policy failure. Everything comes in. So please understand, as I said before, you have to see this as a protracted war. There will be weaknesses in the system. The weaknesses are largely now not strategic in the sense that the forces now dominate the entire Jammu Kashmir region.
Right.
All right. They are tactical vulnerabilities, which are the inevitable result of an ongoing conflict where the adversary is constantly trying to adapt, seek out vulnerabilities, see that, all right, here there is a weakness of deployment or there is a shift of deployment. People break out of heavily guarded jails to say that, oh, we must take this entire. Have you seen the terrain of Jammu Kashmir, particularly of Kashmir? You were just speaking about why have we not been able to catch these people? We don't even know how many. As Mr. Vaid said, It's just 48 hours. We've already identified 3 people by name.
But
I mean, I say we, I'm
there
taking...
is no clarity
And
to that as well. I mean, nobody's really
no,
saying.
there is no clarity even when you take a man and charge sheet him and take him to court. Some measure of uncertainty will always be there in human affairs. Do you see the surrounding mountains and jungles of that area?
Terrain, of
You
course.
think it's a question, oh, why aren't we able to catch 3 people or 5 people or 6 people? Are you serious? Have you seen that place? Why don't we use technology? I mean, why don't we send out drones? First of all, we don't have that.
That was another question that was being raised a lot. That why is it that no surveillance is done using drones, or we claim that we have all the technology, but then we are not being able to use it, put it to best use, probably.
Couple of things. First of all, I don't want a drone hovering all over me all the time. All right. If you put 10,000 drones into the air in Kashmir, the people of Kashmir are going to be screaming. So there is a limit to surveillance. Number 2, there is a limit to deployment. Number 3, these are terrains in which drones cannot actually give you the visuals that are required. Number 4, drones are a distant sighting object usually.
Right.
They will take visuals from a certain height. They can go closer, but they take visuals from a certain height. How do you recognize a terrorist on the ground as opposed to a normal villager, trekker, whatever else is moving around over there? It's not, as I said before, in hindsight, everything is an intelligence failure, a security failure. But when you understand the complexity of the situation, you will understand that there will never be 100% fail-safe. Incidents will occur. Some terrible incidents will occur. Some of the most heavily policed societies in the world have seen successful terrorists. Some of the most affluent societies in the world have seen successful terrorist incidents.
Right.
So to take a region which has been in a situation of protracted conflict for 35 years now, by some measures, I would say for 78 years now, right since the birth of Pakistan, to say that this place must be absolutely securitized is a recommendation that this place should be turned into a internment camp, which you don't want.
Right. Mr. Vaid, I want to bring you in. What does Kashmir now need? I mean, it has a strong police force. There are multiple agencies working on the ground. There's a strong intelligence network. But we still, like we mentioned before, are on the receiving end at times. And that will happen, like Mr. Ajay Sahni pointed out. But will Kashmir be forever trapped in this cycle of violence?
I think in last 35 years of my service, now I'm retired, a lot of things have changed. I've seen from what happened in 90s and 89, and then 2000 and down to 2025. It's not that Kashmir has not changed. So many ground realities have changed. Yes, as Mr. Sani said, it's a protected war. But then, since it is being fought in our ground, we do have casualties, do have weaknesses. After all, you can't have a policeman at every point. But success lies in taking this war to Pakistan's ground, because generals there are planning and we are running around. They are sipping beer in their messes. I think India needs to plan in a manner that Pakistan suffers the way. Today, TTP and BLA are bleeding them more than we should be bleeding. Maybe India has a strategy changed. Let Pakistan army run for cover. Let them protect their camps. Like I had seen in the 90s and late 90s and early 2000, you must have heard of suicidal attacks, the Fidai attacks. 2, 3 terrorists barging into camps of the security forces or army or police. So I think some This should have been seen by Pakistan. I think earlier we were very, very conservative and not reacting the way we should have. Now the government uh, is has changed strategy. I think you must be hearing about a lot of things happening in Pakistan. Let Pakistan army bleed. Let Pakistan establishment bleed. That should be strategy of India. And I'm sure the people there at the highest level in Delhi must be thinking about such steps. Let Pakistan run for cover. Let it protect its camps and let Pakistan army and ISI bleed. That is how India should react. Then you will have some sort of peace here. Pakistan army. That is why Asim Munir is ranting this rhetoric, because his men are today getting hit in Balochistan and TT.
Right. I'll bring in Mr. Sani here. So, what Mr. Vaid said, what strategy could that be? I mean, how could India respond? We saw certain developments that happened. MEA had released a statement last evening regarding the closure of land borders, expulsion of some Pakistani advisors, suspension of Indus Water Treaty. But is that enough? What is this strategy that we can have to respond to what happened?
Uh, these initiatives are positive. It is good. I think the Indus Water Treaty suspension is going to be extremely impactful in terms of both politics and psychology in Pakistan. They're already suffering from acute water shortages, and any threat that there may be any kind of diversion or even fuller utilization of the flows of these three rivers into Pakistan, fuller utilization by India would in some measure diminish the flows into Pakistan, and that is a country already in crisis. So I think among all the measures, the others are symbolic measures. They will have some international and diplomatic impact to project the seriousness with which India has responded. But I think among these, the most significant is the suspension of the Indus Water Treaty. Other measures are certainly being evaluated. We have received indications that this is the case. And I am sure something will be done, is being planned already. Now I'll come to a couple of things that are being discussed. One is war.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of hysteria, all these anchors screaming, let's go to war with Pakistan. You have to do a cost-benefit analysis there. War is very expensive. War is unpredictable. I'm not saying we're going to lose to Pakistan, but certainly it may cost us much more than we may initially anticipate. We may think of a short and quick war. That is what Russia thought would happen in Ukraine, and they're still stuck there after 3 years. So war is unpredictable and extremely costly. India is on a upward trajectory economically. Pakistan is on a downward trajectory economically. So I don't think we should jeopardize our economic future with war. Apart from a number of other arguments, which I will not go into as far as war is concerned. Number two, you must understand that any war with Pakistan in the foreseeable future would be a two-front war for us. Even if China does not attack, even if China simply mobilizes, a large, if not overwhelming proportion of our army or of our armed forces would have to be shifted to the China border.
Right.
Which would probably leave us numerically weaker than the Pakistan army if it concentrated full force on the Indian side. They have their own problems. Afghanistan is a serious problem. And Afghanistan very clearly says that this entire northern belt of the Pakhtun areas is ours. So if there could be significant pressure from that side. So war, as far as I'm concerned, is not a rational option. What then remains? Surgical strikes, Balakot, those do tend to create tremendous political theater, but they have not had very significant strategic impact on the trajectory of terrorism. Right. So what remains? I would suggest the best methods are covert. Some of these, I am sure, are already in play. I would not like to discuss those. Others will be designed. A third element is the economic element, and I think we can do things to Pakistan which would, shall we say, accelerate the pace of Pakistan's economic decline, as well as accelerate the pace of Pakistan's internal conflicts and divisions.
Right.
There are many options over here, but these are not options that should be or can be discussed on public fora.
But when you talk about covert operations, sir, if there's a covert operation politically, how do we say that we have done it? I mean, this is not something that...
Why do you have to? I mean, the definition of covert is that it is covert, that
Right.
it is not spoken of. This is the problem with us. I mean, we talk about the entire surgical strike as if it was the first time an Indian soldier crossed the border.
Right.
I mean, this is utter nonsense.
But it does
It is
lead to
nonsense.
political parties winning elections like we earlier discussed.
So you can decide to win elections and commit suicide.
But if those are the
You
people
do that.
taking the call, then what?
Then I can't help this country. Then this country will go down the toilet as it is going down the toilet. Slowly, steadily, gradually. You will destroy the institutions because they help you win an election.
Yeah.
You will destroy the army because it helps you win an election. You will engage in military and other operations because it helps you win an election, not because it is strategically sound.
Right.
If that is going to be the attitude, if that is the leadership you think this country has, then there is no help for this country. We don't need Pakistan to ruin us. Our leaders will do it for us. They will ruin us without Pakistan. So this you have to understand. Is winning elections the be-all and end-all of every action, every policy we have? If that is the case, we have no future. However much we may go boasting around the place about India as a rising power. India will not be destroyed by Pakistan. India will not be destroyed by China. India will not be destroyed by George Soros and the international conspiracy. India will be destroyed by its own leadership.
Right. Just concluding remarks from both of you, and I'll go to Mr. Vaid once. What next for Kashmir? Where do we go from here?
I think we should build upon whatever has been achieved over the years. A lot of things have improved. Hurriyat has been decimated. It has fragmented now. There are no band calls, no stone peltings. There are no school closing of schools, band calls. All that markets are open. Tourism was flocking. But yes, we should prevent any more such incidents happening. So for that, you have to go after all these groups which are operating. Few groups are operating in the hills of Jammu region and almost a similar number in Kashmir Valley. Kashmir Valley, we have a very strong security grid, very robust intelligence system. Let's build upon them. We have come through very difficult times and a lot of changes have been brought on ground. There's a development push by Honorable Prime Minister. In fact, that is what is actually pinching the Pakistan establishment, because in today's internet time, in the time of social media, people in Pakistan, POK, are seeing what is happening on our side. There is not even one international airport there. You have 3 or 4 airports in J&K, and one is international airport. There are 12 medical colleges, not even one in POK. You have IIMT, IIT, 2 AIMS. Name a good hospital in POK. You have tunnels coming up. You have roads coming up, expressways, railway connectivity. Nothing of that sort in POK. That's why people of POK are demanding that we want to be part of India. We want a leader like Mr. Modi. So this in the time of social media, it is actually hurting the propaganda establishment in Pakistan. That is why they want Kashmir to remain alive. So incident like this is being executed on the instructions of the Pakistani establishment. So as Mr. Sahni was saying, we should not be very sentimental and go for a all-out war. I don't think that that option should be exercised just for it. But there are many other ways to cripple Pakistan. Already Pakistan has gone down. In fact, at one time, I have seen during my lifetime when Pakistan used to equate itself on every count with India. Today, it just looks up towards India. It has gone down the hill. People are suffering. They don't have two meals, two-time meal in a day. Things are now with the crippling of water. Already didn't have food. So you can imagine the fate of people living in POK or in the rest of in Pakistan. So it has so many internal problems.
Right.
We only need to catch on them. I think let's intelligently play our game and take the war on Pakistan side.
Right. Mr. Ajay Sahni, before your closing remarks, if you could give our viewers a little peek into the situation in Pakistan currently. Even the army chief is not very popular among the people.
Well, I think that is the most important thing, not just the army chief. The army itself, for the first time in Pakistan's history,
Right.
is becoming more and more vulnerable.
Yes.
If you recall the PTI agitation when Imran Khan was arrested, they actually succeeded in attacking the army headquarters.
Yes. That was unprecedented.
That is unprecedented. They actually overran a regional headquarters.
Right.
So, and this was not unprecedented in the sense that it had been tried but never succeeded before. It was inconceivable that anybody would want to attack the army. So please understand that the army today is at it's nadir. It's at its lowest point. The second thing is that the army is under tremendous pressure, both in Balochistan and in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa areas, and also in significant measures in parts of Sindh, in bits of Punjab. So if you see the fatality figures, the casualties, the overwhelming proportion of casualties are being taken by the security forces in Pakistan today. They are not being able to hit the Baloch or the TTP militants. They are being hit again and again and again. Of course, there are also some successes to speak of. So the response is what? Kill and dump. They abduct people and disappear them. They torture them, and then suddenly you find their body, mutilated bodies lying all around the place. This is not the way a state ensures its own survival and endurance. All right. This occurs everywhere in conflict situations occasionally. But it is not something that happens at the kind of scale that we are seeing.
Right.
In Balochistan and also in NWFP on occasion. So you must understand this is a country in deep, deep trouble. Then we come, of course, this is the security situation. This is the situation of the army. We see complete political fragmentation. We see complete regional fragmentation. Everybody hates the Punjabi, who is the dominant group. And there is a separatist undercurrent everywhere. And this should give us a few ideas of how to intervene.
Right.
3, the economy is down the toilet. They are just surviving literally from one dole to the next, whether it comes from Saudi Arabia, whether it comes from the IMF, and all these doles, all these bailouts as they are described as, have tremendous costs. They are already a country that has been half colonized by China because of the debt, because of the control of the various projects China has put up under the CPEC, a larger umbrella of the CPEC. So this is a country in a comprehensive, Mr. Vaid talked about increasing hunger in Pakistan, increasing poverty in Pakistan, the value of the rupee plummeting from day to day in Pakistan. So all these factors are creating a situation where Pakistan as a state becomes more and more unviable from day to day.
Right.
This does not mean, we have been talking about Pakistan's collapse for forever.
Yes.
But it takes a long time for a state to die. There are states which have been completely internally collapsed and they still exist as states. So it's going to take a long time for Pakistan to internally collapse. But Pakistan has been weakened more and more year after year. And this is something we must understand. We must overcome our constant sense of victimhood and realize here, again I say this, we should realize that in this case, we are the victors. It is not a complete victory. We can accelerate Pakistan's defeat by many strategies and tactics. But very clearly, the trajectory of Pakistan itself and the trajectory of Pakistan's interventions in Jammu and Kashmir demonstrate that Pakistan is on the losing side, and we have covered a very great distance towards victory.
Right. This is a fresh perspective on this entire episode. Thank you so much, Mr. Ajai Sahni, Mr. Vaid, for joining us today and speaking to us about this very, very critical issue. We hope that the police receives success and this is brought to closure as soon as possible. Thank you.